Are you tired of not knowing which fair value gap to use, getting stopped out and the market running in the direction you thought it would? Look no further than today's video. I'm going to be unlocking Turtle Soup and CRT for you guys because it is the same exact thing. Do not get stuck in the mindset like everybody else on the internet and get trapped into believing this or that. Today we're going to get into it, unlock everything, and get you guys bulletproof. Okay, boys, so I don't care who you are. If you don't have notes, you are not going to be successful. Also, I've been posting about this way before it was CRT. 3 candle model, turtle soup sequence, however you want to look at it. This is power of 3, a market maker model, right? It's all the same stuff. Don't get trapped into trying to believe one thing or the other when you can just learn how the market moves. It doesn't move through CRT. It moves through all of the millions of videos I've posted about, and CRT is just an additional way to be able to see it. To be able to trade this correctly, every CRT is a turtle soup sequence. We never praise the shiny object. The 3 candle model has been the basics since the beginning. We look for an order block entry, an OTE entry, or a kiss of death entry. Key practices include purges at key times, a high time frame PDA supporting your narrative, a higher time frame draw on liquidity in the opposing end of the range, and it offers a good risk to reward. We look for about 3 or more. For our best entries, which are the order block is which price manipulates one end of the range, returns back into the range, and engulfs the candle that swept the previous old high or low. For the highest confirmation with these setups, we like to use time-based order blocks. The first order block entry typically forms within the second candle, which is the manipulation candle, and it's the candle that closes into the opens. Enter at the open of the order block with the stop loss at the opposing end and a bit above or below the order block. TP is at equilibrium, and I personally like to use OTE, the opposing end of the range's order block. For the kiss of death, I have a video on this model by itself. It's simply put the final or the higher time frame manipulation leg before the higher time frame draw on liquidity is hit. If we have a high time frame kiss of death, it often can last a day or two or a whole week. It's very hard manipulation that looks real. It looks like the market is trending or changing trend in one direction from an accumulation and expanding, when in reality it will flip that whole expansion. Our most reliable real turtle soup entries come from kiss of deaths, and we reaccumulate above an old previous high and then create a time-based internal liquidity into your turtle soup sequence after the obvious turtle soup of the internal time-based liquidity. I want this to be a more fast-paced video. Let's get straight to the chart. Lots of makeup on this chart, but I'm going to explain everything, along with where we are right now, where we've delivered from, as well as what low we have taken, being the previous month into week low. If we look on the monthly chart, we can see our S&T and soup of the low here, and then into a weekly chart, just taking this low resistance liquidity, turtle souping the low and closing back within the range. We can see our 1, 2, 3 candle model here being the CRT model. We can see our CRT low into our CRT high. Come into the daily chart as well. We see our long wick that we failed to close through, rejecting that wick and returning higher, then reaccumulating above an old high here. Also above the old NWOG that then supports price higher. Zoom into the 4-hour, get it looking just a little bit more pretty. So we can see our CRT high here and our CRT low after our accumulation and our manipulation. This is a 12-hour CRT, hard to see here, but it is our accumulation candle into our manipulation, close back within the range, and we can see that with this here. After that, we see that we are delivering from an hourly order block. So let's change that time frame. See our hourly delivery from our order block here. Our protected low gets put in. We then break the high, balancing the price range, reaccumulate, and then deliver the high one more time. This creates a time-based ITL that we then accumulate, manipulate, and then distribute past the high, not needing to manipulate past the high resistance lows. Or that was actually that piece of price action, but you can see it looks the same here. That was into this previous week. We'll get into that. Little peek forward there, right? Same thing. We reaccumulate above our previous old high after rejecting the old low and returning back within the range. We manipulate very aggressively and return back into the range aggressively to then reaccumulate. We reaccumulate, manipulate the internal liquidity here into our order block FEG, and then deliver higher. I want you to, this piece of price action, almost picture it in your head. After we reaccumulate, sweep the internal into the FEG here, and we'll look at that on a 4-hour time frame on a completely different piece of price action that looks super similar. We have our power of 3, our market maker models put into place with this accumulation with these lines here, our original accumulation consolidation here, into our smart money reversal SMT. We then expand away from the SMT in the low, leaving an FEG, which we then reaccumulate, sweep into the FEG OB, and then deliver higher. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. You don't even need a CRT to see this. Obviously, we showed that on the higher time frame, but you still need to understand how to look at price action on the lower time frame. You can even see this CRT here, which you guys should have been able to catch, as we showed that on the 4-hour as well, with that being a sweep and then closure back into a green candle, which it flipped and then delivered higher. And we can see this order block delivery here. One thing I wanted to note is after we take that high, we reaccumulate above the old high, soup into the ITL in the higher time frame 4-hour and 1-hour fair value gap to then deliver higher. Right, that's right here. And if we go back, like we said, it is right here as well. We break the high, reaccumulate above the old high, and it looks sloppy here because it's an hourly FEG, but if we pull the replay tool back, look at this on the 4-hour, we can see it is that 4-hour FEG after reaccumulating above an old high that then sends us higher. Balance price range here, and then we deliver higher from there. We can see that balance price range by that internal delivery to external, balancing this accumulation range that then sends us higher from an equilibrium or OTE entry. Popping into more recent price action. Remember how I told you guys to remember this piece of price action? Well, it looks pretty similar to this. Okay, you can see our reaccumulation above our old high. We break the high, reaccumulate. And obviously I can see we displaced back inside the range, but we didn't displace and then break away, right? We just kept forming balanced price actions, reaccumulating, and then moving lower. We then, because of that reaccumulation, formed ITL and XTL above these highs, internal here, above these equal highs, right? So all we just then needed was a confirmed manipulation into our order block and internal here. We just need to understand which liquidity was needed to be taken into these low resistance lows here, into our order block on a higher time frame, as well as our ITL on the lower time frame. We sweep, return in, and return to this order block here. Put in our protected low, and then deliver higher like we saw earlier, with these pieces of price action almost mimicking each other. We then break higher, accumulate above the old high, sweep into the 4-hour ITL. And one thing I like to notice here is look at the times of these candles. The times of these candles. 6:10 into a London manipulation of the Asian range into your New York flip. On what day? Thursday. Delivering from what? Monday, low of week. That's crazy. We always talk about weekly profiles and Thursday expanding from a Monday, Tuesday, low of week if the higher time frame draw has not been hit. I understand into Friday we didn't hit the draw on liquidity, but look what happens, right? That Thursday low still is protected. We soup the ITL into our high probability order block FEG and then deliver higher. You can also see this as a breaker, right? I don't really care if you see this as an order block or a breaker, as long as you see, right, where we're delivering from, why, when, and where, especially here after the 6 and 10 accumulation into a London manipulation, then into a New York flip during 6 a.m. 6 acting like a rejection block. If we fib out the wick, right, we close, we obviously don't close, but we react very aggressively to EQ of that wick inside of the 4-hour fair value gap. And then as you see, we zoom out here, and we talked about finishing the buy model to these highs, paying attention and staying safe with the SMT above the highs and all-time highs with ES. This is where it's up to you to go back and look at your own chart and your own piece of price action. As we can see, this is back in April of 24. As we can see, we reaccumulated above an old high, creating time-based ITL, souping into our fair value gap order block after creating the breaker on the weekly and the monthly, low resistance above into a 4-hour buy model. As we can see, that buy model is put into place here. Right here, excuse me. Buy model is put into place here. And as we can see, we react the same exact way. After balancing this price action, external, internal, rejection block entry, balancing this price action, we see from low to high, we deliver to OTE, failure to close, right? And then same thing pretty much once again. Failing to close OTE, rejecting, long wick during FOMC, long wicks get filled to and through during bullish order flow. We're obviously higher time frame bullish. Time-based soup, SMT, I don't think that was SMT, excuse me. If it was, correct me, but high resistance low put in, high resistance, and we had an SMT on one of these, right? I'm pretty sure this low was taken and ES had a higher high. Always noting those, right, and seeing how this price action is pretty much copy and paste. Obviously, I can see we expand with FVGs, but you can see, right, our accumulations into our manipulations from our original consolidations from our higher time frame range, sweeping the lows into a higher time frame PD array that then delivers us higher from our low time frame, from our low time frame inside of our high time frame SMTs, right, sweeping range low. Technically, you could see all this as a CRT because it's an accumulation range above an old high into a PD array. We see we manipulate, and I think on a weekly we even failed to close. It might have been a monthly. And it just kind of looks like a good old-fashioned breaker into a monthly rejection block. You see that here, us reacting from the wick, and then we pull off one more time. That's why you don't always want to, rely fully on CRT, because you can see it with just your eyes. We don't quite reach the wick there, but we do have our FEG to the left, right, that we fail to close past, as well as our breaker here that then pushes us higher. Alright fellas, that's all I got for this one. I hope you guys can maybe change the way you see the chart, not really rely so much on CRT. Quit, honestly sucking CRT's dick, because it's not that crazy. It's how the market's been moving. CRT is just a way to kind of visualize it and understand. And when you put CRT in time-based liquidity, kind of helps people understand. But time-based liquidity has always been a target. We target previous days, Asia's, weeks, right, into certain imbalances that need to get rebalanced, or understanding how the liquidity moves. It fills imbalances and leaves imbalances and rebalances. We understand where the target of liquidity is from internal to external above old highs and lows, and when, why, and where we need to deliver to and from them. Like I said, that's all I got for this one. Hope you guys can enjoy. Link to the Discord is in the description. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and y'all have a great one.